In this video, I'm going to show you how to create collections in Epic. From those collections, I'm going to show you how to assign them to individual students so those students can then focus on just the books that you're giving them. So I'm already logged into my Epic for Educators account here. Once I go to my dashboard, you can see I have one fake student account I made. If I want to make more students, it's a matter of putting in their first name and their last name and creating the profile. One thing I will point out is that you can create groups. So if you're doing reading groups or doing multi-grade groupings or whatever you want to do, you could create the group, then select the group, then make the accounts for the students. So they could be easier to find. All basically the groups do is gives you a way to sort the kids in case you're looking for specific kids. So in this case, I'm just putting them all into one all students group. Okay, so I'm going to click next under My Library. The My Library tab will show you the collections you've made. Right now I have one collection called Autumn. If I click on that, you can see I have 2 books in it currently. Okay, so the question is, how do I get the collections made in my library, and how do I populate with the books? So to do that, I'm going to go to Browse. From Browse, you can go to your preferences, and you can specify the age you want, the format, and the interest level. Okay, so that just kind of narrows down the books that you're seeing on this page. So from here, I could go through and look at the audiobooks, the quizzes, the collections, so on and so forth, to add books to put into a collection. I could also go to the community collections and add an entire collection from there. So I'm gonna do both just to show you. So I'm gonna go through, and I'm seeing here they have this basketball collection. So I'm gonna click on that, take a look at the books. So some look good, some not so good for my kids. So I'm going to add some to a collection. So I'm going to click on this one. You can see I can zoom in. I can go through the pages, and you have the add to. So if I like this book, I click add to. I could add it to my autumn collection. It wouldn't really fit. Or I could make a new collection. So in this one, I'll just make a basketball collection or a sports collection or whatever. You can share it with the community if you want to, so other Epic users can see it, other Epic teachers or not. So I'm going to create it. Okay. I could also favorite, you can see. I'm going to X out. So I'll go through and I'll add, let's say I'll add this Dunker one. Okay. So I look at it, go to add it to my collection, so on and so forth. So after you get good at it, it's just a matter of then quickly clicking on the book, preview, add to collection. You note you can add books to multiple collections. So I could have one that was just called sports and add it to as well. Okay, so that's how to add individual books to collections. If I go back to my library, in a minute it'll pull up my collections, and you'll see I now have this basketball one with my 3 books in it. So I'm going to go to Browse, and they have these community collections. So I'm going to go through and see what I like. How about human impact on ecosystems? That looks good. So I'm going to click on that collection. You can see it has all these books already in it. I could go ahead and copy that entire collection to my library. So if you're trying to speed up making your libraries in a hurry, that's a quick way to go through. So when I click on my library here, you can see I now have 3 collections. Any of these I can edit. So if this one here that I copied the entire collection, I could go and edit. I could change the wording for it if it doesn't quite fit my needs. You can see there's also a search button. So I could search by topic. It'll give me all these different collections in all these different books. Okay, so from here, if I wanted to add more, I could go through. You can see this is a collection, just a community collection. I could go through and copy the entire thing, or I could look at it and say, I really just want to add this one book about ladies of the court. I could add it. Okay, so you can search, you can look through collections, so on and so forth. X out of that. So once you have your collections done, when I go to my library, I can then assign them to my students. So let's say I want to assign this human impact one. I click on assign. If I have different categories of students, I could then click them here. In this case, I have just my all students, so I can click and assign that to fake student. Okay, you can see here, I'll tell you whether I have any assigned. And if I go to my, not my edit, to my assign button, it will populate my list of students based off my categories and show me if it's already assigned. So in this case, I could assign it to my guest account if I wanted to. So once that's set, it's a matter of how the students get to those books. So I'm under my dashboard. You can see here's my classroom code. So I'm going to hop over to another browser. So here I'm at my getepic.com site. I'm going to go to sign in. So here, if I was a teacher, I could sign in, but you notice it says, are you a student? Sign in with your class code. So if I click on that, it's going to ask me to type in that code. So you could make a poster or on your board, type in that code so kids can then type it right in when they want to sign in. So I'm going to just copy and paste it. So from here, they'd be given a window with a listing of accounts. I'm going to sign in as my fake student. As fake student, I could go and change my preferences, set my age, my interests, and go through and find books and collections that I like. So if I look at this one and I'm here like, boy, it sounds like a really cool book, right? I could go through and read it myself. Okay. You see here is popping up the avatars and the rewards and so forth. So I can get badges based off of reading books. Now, if I click on here where it says Mailbox, you can see this is where it has my 2 assignments. So at any point, I can click on my collection and pick those books. And if I do collect and read these books, it will list them in my reading log. And under my profile, it'll also list them under activity and also give me these little badges, so kind of incentivize it. But Mailbox is where it'll list those specific books you're assigning, those specific collections, or the kids could just browse, or they could search. You know, you could say, hey, I want you to read about books about, you know, dolphins. And let them do some self-exploration from here. They could go to a collection or specific book from here, or video, or whatever else. So hopefully that gives you a broad overview of how to find books, make collections, set up students, and assign the books to your students.